All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining the Culmer Clinic webinar series. It's an inside look on the volunteer experience, and we're very lucky to have Erica Harp here this evening. And I will be presenting kind of the introduction to everyone so you can get familiar with Culmer Clinic and what we do. Our chair is Jasmine Williams, which you see here in the photo, me included, and Maria. So I know you all have cell phones. This is a quick way for us to get to know one another. If you can take a picture of that QR code and type in your responses, there are about 3 options that you could add your responses to. So to keep it interesting, I'm interested to see what you guys have in mind and what your current interests are at the moment. And you should see it on the screen. Do you see a question that says if you could fix a problem in society right now, what would it be? COVID. Okay. That's definitely top of my list. What else? You can put 3 answers. It doesn't need to be so serious as well. That's very true. Something that I hope fix one day. Health inequity. Okay.
One.
And everyone, feel free to, my committee members and everyone else, and Erica, feel free to add your input as well. Mass incarceration. That's number 1. Whoever said that, I completely agree. Anyone else? We have a couple seconds. Now, I'm curious to hear some of your reason why, as to why you've added some of them. I know COVID's the main one. Can anyone give me kind of a brief overview of why you added it so people can get familiar with what you mean?
I put racism because it's just, something that has been happening for so long. And now, I mean, I guess with phones and cameras, now it's just really in our face and something that needs to be addressed. And I think that if I could change anything right now besides COVID, it would be that.
Right. Okay. So you know, if you all have used Mentipoll before, it kind of pulls the main key theme or word out. So multiple of you have entered COVID. So that's why it's probably standing out compared to the rest. Now you should get another question if you go to the next one. Let me know if you don't see it. What is something you're learning about right now? I'm curious. I know most of you guys are in school or have finished. I know we're going to be lifelong learners here, but with that QR code, Annalise, I know you just joined if you're able to. If not, you're completely fine. I could look at it later. HIV, AIDS, and stigma. Okay, medical coding. I'm curious to learn more. Anyone else? New job at orthopedic office. Congratulations.
Awesome.
Diabetes. Annalise mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that, actually.
Sorry, I'm doing this from my phone. I hope you can, I'll mute myself, and I'm sorry from that, but anyway, I'll explain later, but hey.
No, you're completely fine.
Yeah, we can see you and hear you.
Okay, so HIV, AIDS, stigma, medical coding, new job, orthopedic office. Congratulations. Who's that?
That's me. I'm on my 2nd week this week.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
Awesome. How's it been?
It's been a little rough. I've been out of the clinical setting, honestly, since like 2015.
Okay.
So I'm trying to jump back in because I'm interested in going to PA school. So I got this MA position with Ortho Virginia, and it's a lot, honestly, learning about Epic, which is their electronic health record program. So it's like thrown off the way that I feel like I can talk to patients, because now I'm focused on this whole computer system, and I'm like, So it's been a lot, but you know, we're chugging along over here.
That's true.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And the other one, I'm curious, HIV, AIDS, and Stigma. You mentioned it.
That's me. I'm actually participating in a week-long, well, for some background, Mason usually has alternative spring breaks, when usually in person, where students can go to different parts of the US, and they also have some international ones to learn about a specific topic for the week instead of, you know, having your traditional spring break.
Right.
So since we didn't have a spring break this year, they got pushed to the last week of the semester, or now it's like the week after the semester's over. But yeah, so we are like participating in like a virtual spring break
Oh,
basically
wow.
for the
Cool.
week. So we're meeting like, yeah, community organizations and people living with HIV to learn about like the impact of stigma, but you know, how we can work against that. So it's very interesting, learning a lot already. Today was our first day, so I won't be able to attend all of it because of graduation this week, but I'm looking forward to learning a lot more. So I love doing like a deep dive into topics like this, so I'm excited. Yeah,
That's awesome. I have to connect you with someone who's worked with HIV and AIDS stigma for USAID. I think it'll be really great if you connect with her so I can share your information with her. All right, great. So that was just a little icebreaker to get to know you all. I personally love MedTpool. It's a great way to get everyone talking, and hopefully you've enjoyed that little exercise. All right, so let's go back to view and present. Bear with me. So now, what is Culmore Clinic? For some of you who may not know, we are pretty much all familiar, but it's one of the best nonprofits of the catalog through philanthropy, and Culmore Clinic is a 501c3. It's a nonprofit healthcare clinic serving low-income adults in the Bailey's Crossroads community at little to no cost. And their commitment to care is displayed through their top-notch medical interpretation services to ensure effective treatment to the culturally diverse community in which they work. And volunteers actually founded the clinic in 2007, and to this day it's significantly volunteer run and allowing more resources to go towards patient care. So that's a little bit of Culmer Clinic, and then we'll give you a brief overview of what the Young Professionals Committee is, and hopefully we'll have some new members throughout this call.
So the Young Professionals Committee was started probably about 7 months ago in November. It evolved from a project that we did in a class. So it's a group of young professionals that promote the mission of Culmore Clinic, early careerists, and we work together to identify opportunities to serve as a think tank for new and emerging trends in medicine. So like our mission, our focus has been on getting the word of Culmore Clinic and the Young Professionals Committee out there and attracting interest and members. So that's what we've really been working on since we started. In addition to, we have internship projects. So now that our internships are over, we're focused on not only attracting new members, but starting to really dig deep and dive into Culmore Clinic, work on projects, collaborate together on how to further Culmore Clinic's mission. So we're hoping to attract young professionals 18 to 30 in the area, and looking to make professional connections and also serve the community. So as we kind of set our foot in the ground and work together to really establish what this committee is, we're hoping that, you know, young professionals will join and help us to do so, because as we all graduate, we are looking for members that at some point we can pass the torch on to, and that will be just as involved with working with Culmore Clinic as us. So Erica, who's our young professional volunteer speaker tonight, as she said, is graduating from George Mason this week. with her community health and Spanish degree. She's been with Culmore Clinic for about a year, since last February 2020, and she's worked as an interpreter and also with the vaccine scheduling. She's passionate about health equity and has gained experience through public health research and other student organizations. So we're happy to have her tonight. And she's just going to share a little bit about her experience as a volunteer with Culmore Clinic, a little bit of information about herself personally, and why she was attracted to Culmore Clinic initially.
Thank you, Jasmine. So besides the incredible things that Jasmine just mentioned about Erica, I want to add that she also has been highlighted as the Volunteer of the Week on the Culmer Clinic website. And we're so glad to have you here with us, Erica. So we will start by asking you a few questions. And also, if anyone in the audience has any comments or questions, please feel free to jump in or leave your question in the chat box here, and we will read your questions at the end of the conversation, if it's the case. So, Erica, starting with the first question, please tell us a little bit about yourself professionally and a couple of fun facts or biggest fears, if it's the case.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here. So like the slide says, thank you for the great introduction, Jasmine. I'm a graduating senior. I'm really looking forward to graduating this week with my degree in community health and minor in Spanish. And yeah, throughout my undergraduate career, I've had the opportunity to explore different areas of public health. I was able to study abroad twice, once in India and once in Argentina, and learn about public health in both of those places. And upon returning from Argentina, where I studied public health and Spanish there for a semester, I was really able to build my fluency in Spanish. And I actually had a friend on that program who grew up in Falls Church and grew up volunteering at Culmore Clinic. So she connected me with Terry, and I was able to start volunteering right before COVID. And it's really been one of the most enriching and interesting and rewarding experiences of my undergraduate career. And even during COVID, it's just been incredible to work with everyone. And it has given me so many valuable skills. I think I've talked about my time at Culmore Clinic and almost all of my job interviews and many of my fellowship essays. And yeah, thankfully, I have secured a full-time job post-graduation. I'll be working at the MITRE Corporation in McLean as an associate health program analyst. And I'll mostly be working on a research project alongside HHS, evaluating the replication of previously effective teen pregnancy prevention programs. It's a mouthful, but I'm very excited and overjoyed to have this opportunity. And yeah, I really think they were impressed by, my experience working with community organizations. And especially in my role coordinating and managing our partnership with Nova Scripts for a free medication program. They were especially impressed by that because part of the position and part of the evaluation for the program will be working with community-based organizations and nonprofits. And so, they emphasize that being flexible and kind of, being comfortable with the unpredictability of that kind of work is really important. So I think I was really able to use those experiences to my advantage, which I'm so thankful for. And yeah, in my free time, which I haven't had a lot of in the past couple of years, I'm really looking forward to not having homework every night anymore. But I am a big baker. I love to bake and cook. During COVID, I've taken up sourdough bread baking, which has been great, as many other people have too. And my little sourdough starter is still in my fridge. I haven't touched it in a while. So I'm hoping that over the next couple of weeks before I start my job, we'll have some time to do that. And I'm also an avid reader. I also love to paint, and I'm learning to roller skate. So that's been really fun too. Yeah.
Oh, you are a busy young lady. Let me thank you for sharing that. It's very impressive and interesting. All what you have been doing, that you travel around the world to learn about public health, and also that you are here and trying to give back to the community. That is fabulous. I really appreciate that you share that. Is incredible. Um, Continue with the second question, Erica. What about Culmore Clinic made you want to return and continue to volunteer?
Sure. Well, I think the mission of Culmore Clinic is has especially been very inspiring and attractive to me, and valuable experience in my time abroad. Okay, I can answer that after. And yeah, just all of the providers' warmth and commitment to both the patients and overall mission, of the clinic to expand access to healthcare for all those who need it, has been really incredible. And the fact that Culmore Clinic has such strong relationships within the community, I also think is really great. And during COVID especially, it's been so fantastic to witness how much we have stepped up and supported our patients in so many ways. And I know this question, I think I'm allowed to share like a little story, but one day over the summer, I think I was manning one of our nursing lines where I would answer patient questions and concerns. One of our patients called, kind of concerned that her husband had contracted COVID and was having symptoms, and this patient was pretty immunocompromised, so this was a significant concern for her. And although he wasn't our patient at the time, I was able to coordinate with our clinical director at the time, to get a COVID test for her husband, just like the next morning, I think, at Neighborhood Health, which is one of our community partners. And I believe we were then able to kind of register her husband or at least offer registration to her husband to become one of our patients afterwards. And we were also able to kind of support them with isolation and making sure that she wouldn't contract COVID, and helping them obtain groceries and just ensuring that like they're able to stay safe and healthy as possible. So yeah, that was just a really inspiring experience for me. And all of our patients are so thankful and grateful, which is of course very rewarding. So yeah, that experiences like that make me.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you mention that, because personally, I became part of Culmore Clinic because of their mission, of course, to bridge the care disparities and the positive impact they are making in the community right now. And also because it aligned to my personal career goals of health equity. So I wanted to contribute and at the same time gain many valuable skills that will help me as I go forward. Erica, we have a question from the chat. It says, what was your most valuable experience during your time abroad?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think my most valuable experience while studying abroad in Argentina was the research project I was able to conduct in partnership with the university where I was studying. I conducted an independent study on access to reproductive and sexual health care services for incarcerated women in Buenos Aires's federal penitentiary system. So I had the opportunity to interview about 8 formerly incarcerated women, which was a really impactful and fantastic experience. So I got to work with a mentor who was a local doctor and activist, and I was able to, be connected with women both through her and actually my host mother, who was a family lawyer. So yeah, I learned so much about public health in Argentina and stigma and access to healthcare. And it was, just a really fantastic experience overall. And, I was able to, learn about qualitative research and the power of that, which I'll be able to utilize actually in my upcoming role at MITRE. So I'm very excited, but yeah.
That's incredible. Every time that you mention an experience, I just want to know more about what you have been through. That's very interesting, Erica. Okay, continuing the next question, can you describe how volunteer involvement can create an engaging experience for the patients and how this experience can benefit future volunteers at the same time?
Sure. Well, I think for patients, all of the volunteers at Culmore Clinic are, so kind and warm, and again, committed to a mission of health equity and ensuring that patients have access to culturally sensitive and comprehensive healthcare. So I think, patients have the pleasure of working with some really fantastic people. And it's been great for me personally to be able to form some kind of, relationships with patients, even virtually, and kind of get to know some of them. And of course, for volunteers, I have had the opportunity to learn a lot about nonprofit healthcare delivery, about health equity, and of course about, the public health profile of our patient population, as low income. Many of our patients are low income immigrants in the Bailey's Crossroads community. So it's been really interesting to learn about, what health issues are most common. And on top of that, the social determinants of health and how other factors, impact their health status. And, I just really appreciate that Culmore Clinic, really approaches those issues so holistically, and we're eager to connect patients with not only healthcare services but also social and economic support, financial support services, that in turn help improve their health outcomes. So that's great.
That's great. In my opinion, the clinic, working with the clinic has been really enrichment opportunity, because this experience gives you a broad idea of the skills you have, also the strengths and those areas also where you can gain more abilities, But what I have enjoyed the most is that this is a way to serve your community, to serve the community. This is such a rewarding feeling. I also, Erica, have the opportunity to interview patients. In my case, for my project, but it was because of COVID, it was through phone calls. However, that interview at that moment that I have to talk to the patient, it gave me an insight into their values, their culture, and just listening to their words of appreciation is really rewarding. And it definitely helps you, at some point, helps you to connect to others and your community. So it's really a good experience. So continuing with the last question is, what resources and career development opportunities did you gain from volunteering at Culmer Clinic? Hello?
Uh-oh.
No, I think she's muted.
Oh,
I disconnected. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it
That's okay.
went in and out for a while. Yeah, I just came back in.
Okay, so yeah.
Maria, you were talking about your research, which sounds so interesting. I would love to hear a little bit more about that. I'm not sure how much you shared, but
yeah, we will have another time. We will talk more about it. We did really interesting research. So Erica, I don't know if you hear me, that I asked you the last question. So what resources and career development opportunities did you gain from volunteering at Culver Clinic?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, just the skills and experiences that I had were the most valuable. Being able to talk about how, I have experience in coordinating between, for example, Nova Scripts and Culmore Clinic. I've had, the experience of working alongside the Fairfax County Health Department to help register patients for the COVID-19 vaccine. That has been really great. And of course, gaining experience as an interpreter has been really fantastic. I'm so thankful, for the opportunity. Of course, as a non-native speaker, there's been a large learning curve, and I've been really grateful for the opportunity to learn a lot of medical Spanish. And of course, our patients are always very patient with me, which I really appreciate. But yeah, of course, there's been opportunities to network too and get to know our providers and fellow volunteers, which is always a very positive experience. And honestly, experience shifting from in-person to virtual work has, been challenging, but it has also allowed me to become a more flexible and adaptable person, especially with interpreting. I was still really learning how to interpret in person right before COVID. So doing that, over the phone it was a transition, but yeah, as well as, just organizational skills and, everything else that comes along with both like the administration and the interpreting side. But like I said before, I've talked so much about my experiences and skills that I've gained from being a volunteer intern. So yeah, that's been great.
That's awesome, Erika. That's good. Besides what you share, I would like to add, in my opinion, that in my personal experience, that I have gained also a variety of skills through working with Culmer Clinic with the project, and also in this working with the Young Professional Committee. So those variety of skills are include problem solving, teamwork, planning and analysis, leadership skills and values. So all those skills will help for sure. It will help me in my future career to lead some team projects or for further research and solve gaps, also to identify challenges and present findings. So those are valuable things that I have learned for Culmer Clinic, which I appreciated, and I'm confident that Jasmine and Blaine, they are in the same boat as me. So yeah, that's just great to hear all those experiences from you, Erika, and besides all the things that you learn and all the support that you are giving to the community, is interesting to know that also that you speak Spanish and you are not shy about trying new things. That's what I see. You're really as a brave and strong young lady. So now I will pass it over to my team. So please feel free to ask any question in this moment, and yeah, so we'll see. We're gonna start. Check the chat. Okay, no question for now in the chat, but does anyone else want to ask any other extra question to Eric?
Yeah. So I don't have any questions, but she said something about the providers and how they're so dedicated to the mission of Culmore Clinic and health equity. And I had the pleasure of interviewing a few of them for my internship project, and that was definitely like the theme of their conversations. How many of them had been volunteers at Culmore Clinic and other nonprofit organizations in the community for years. And they were just so dedicated to making sure, healthcare is equal, and that they did all they could to assist with that. So I had to agree with you, because I interviewed them about, their education about racial disparities. And while none of them had any formal training, they all did say, like, I've learned so much working with this clinic about disparities and different patients' cultures. So I think it's awesome that Culmore Clinic has served all of us in this same way, but in different ways, if that makes sense. So I am doing the closing. So Berlin, if you have any questions about Culmore Clinic, about the Young Professionals Committee, we hope that this short look into the volunteer experience of the clinic has made you more interested in volunteering and or joining our committee. Like I said, we're looking for members and looking for people to help us establish ourselves. And so if you have any questions now, feel free to chime in, or we will definitely send you our contact info.
I guess I didn't have a chance to really think of any questions. I was waiting for, after this to really think of some things, but I guess My only thing is with this new job, I work Monday to Friday. I'm definitely interested in volunteering. One, for, you know, the many reasons that all of you just described. I mean, it's definitely the place where, you know, I would love to be, somewhere that I'd like to get started now, as, you know, my professional career is just now building. And then hopefully in the future, you know, if I do get through PA school, crossing our fingers, you know, this is definitely somewhere where I would like to come back, you know, like fully, you know, knowledgeable of things. And it's just definitely something where I can see myself being. And I think honestly at my new job too, this is what's awful about me, is that both of my parents are Spanish speaking, but my Spanish is horrible. So now at my new job, they use me for the Spanish that I know is definitely.
Oh no.
So they use me to room patients, and I'd be telling patients all the time, I'm like, I'm so sorry, my Spanish is not up to par with what yours is, but I promise I understand everything you're saying. It just will not come out the same for me. I do my best, and it's really, and that's why I want to really put myself in this position where I can learn and grow, especially in my medical Spanish, because I definitely want to use that and utilize that in the field big time. So this is definitely somewhere where I would really like to be. I'm definitely interested in seeing how everything works and where I would fit well with the time that I am able to give. So I am interested in joining.
Awesome. So that is great. And that's great to hear. So we can definitely give you our contact information and include you, get you the information about the clinic and their current hours, and maybe see where you fit in there. But we can definitely include you in our young professional information. We usually meet in the afternoons because we all work as well. So, and we try to keep it brief, in an hour. So we can get connected. We have your email, and we can go from there. But we're happy that you're interested and that you learned a little bit more about us and about the clinic tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate the presentation and all of the points. I mean, it sounds really great, and you guys are doing a wonderful job from what I've seen, from what I've heard tonight. Like, I'm honestly extremely impressed.
Oh, thank you. And Annalise is the clinic's director, and she's here.
Hello. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly say hi and thank you so much. I mean, you know, as somebody who has been where you are at your age, I love being that kind of like the little fly on the wall, and just seeing the energy that you all emit, you know, your passion for just creating a world of greater equity and opportunity. And you know, it gives me so much hope. I think there's a lot of frustration in our world today, a lot of anger, a lot of fear, a lot of concern. But I think if we can hold on to things that we really do hold dear, that don't just benefit others, but ultimately benefit us, you know, benefit us in our core. And I see that in all of your faces. I see that in our dialogue. I see it in the projects. I see it in the volunteerism. I'm, you know, I have to say, when I heard today about Erica moving on too, I was like, and I had a little moment with Barbara, who just adores you too, and yet we're so excited for you because we know you're going to do great things, and you're going to take a piece of the spirit of Culmore Clinic with you. And I'm glad I have my YPC for a little bit longer, but we've still got work to do. Berlin, I you know, we're here anytime you want to join us. You know, I hear what you say about the language. You know, I'm glad I don't have to communicate people seriously in Spanish, but you know, I have a little working knowledge, but it's just a wonderful thing sometimes just to attempt to speak to people in their native tongue, just because I think it makes everyone feel a little bit valued. So I think every effort you make will be a good one. So anyway, but thank you. I appreciate this wonderful opportunity, and just to see you all again, and we will talk again.
Yep.
Yeah. So we will definitely send out our contact information and next steps and next webinars and make sure we get connected with all of you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for joining, guys.
All right. Bye.
Thank you,
Nice to
Erica,
see
so
you.
much.
Yeah,
for
thank you for
joining.
having me.
You're wonderful.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Erica, that was so good.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
really
Awesome.
about all the things that you're doing.
I know.
Bye.
So